A deserted county road, midnight air thick with pine and fog. A lone girl in a white dress walks the shoulder, praying for headlights. Any headlights. When a patrol car finally slows beside her, she thinks the worst of the night is over. But as the cruiser glides deeper into the dark, something in the officer's calm voice and the empty woods ahead hints that her ordeal has only just begun. Wind hissed through the scraggly pines lining County Road 17, their silhouettes bending like gaunt mourners under the moonlight. My heels clicked along the cracked asphalt, each step echoing the steady beat of my pulse. I hugged myself and glared at the night sky, wondering how a date that had started so ordinarily could decay into dread so quickly. "Slow down, babe," Grant had purred earlier, steering his vintage Camaro down a dirt spur. When I'd protested, he slid a possessive hand across my thigh, fingers tightening whenever I pushed him away. The wine at dinner, the pretty compliments, the easy laughter, all shattered when he'd parked at an abandoned gravel pit, engine idling like a snarl. "I'm not that type of girl," I'd told him, my voice trembling but firm. "You're wearing that dress for a reason," he'd smirked, eyes sweeping the length of me as though I were inventory. My white summer dress, the one my sister called angelic, suddenly felt like a spotlight on bare skin. "Let me out," I'd said, twisting the door handle. Grant had shrugged, indifferent. "Suit yourself. Good luck walking all the way back to town." Then the Camaro's tires had spat gravel and dust into my face, taillights shrinking like twin demons' eyes before winking out entirely. I'd been too proud to call my parents, too frightened to hike into the dark woods, so I started down the county road, hoping for a farmhouse or even a mile marker. That was when the headlights, a single pair, far gentler than Grant's feral red, approached from behind. A white and black cruiser purred alongside me, slowing until the passenger window aligned with my shoulder. The overhead bar was dark. Only the amber dome light inside illuminated the officer's profile. Square jaw, kind eyes, pressed uniform that gleamed faintly in the moonlight. "Evening, ma'am," he said, tipping his campaign hat. "Everything all right?" I exhaled shaky relief. "Honestly, not really." "Why don't you step in where it's warm? I'm Deputy Harlan Myers," he added, unlocking the door. Once in the cruiser, I shivered, not from cold, but from the sudden hush after the night's lonely chorus. A faint aroma like cedar smoke drifted from the dashboard vents. "Name?" Deputy Myers asked, sliding a notepad from his breast pocket. "Claire Adams?" "Pretty name, Miss Adams." He offered a soft smile. "You want to tell me what you're doing out here alone?" I told him everything. Grant's increasingly possessive comments, the stop at the gravel pit, the hand that wouldn't move from my thigh. Deputy Myers kept his eyes on the road, but his knuckles flexed against the steering wheel. "Men like that," he muttered, "forget chivalry real quick." "Yeah, well, lesson learned." His radio crackled softly. I caught half a whisper of static that almost sounded like a voice, garbled and distant. Myers reached for the mic, tapped it twice, but didn't answer. The microphone looked older than I'd seen in modern cruisers, rounded metal rather than sleek plastic, and the dash lacked a digital touchscreen. Instead, analog gauges glowed green and orange like instruments in some Cold War bomber. "Where to?" he asked. "Home is Maplewood Lane, but maybe just the Main Street Diner. My friend's working night shift there." "Sure thing," he said. "Bit of a drive, but we'll get you there." Gravel churned beneath us. I glanced at the speedometer. Its needle jerked just under 40, though we seemed to glide quicker than that. Trees flashed past, like frames of an old film, jerk stop jerk, and the night through the windshield looked grainy, as though veiled by static. "So, Claire," Myers began, voice friendly, "what do you do when reckless boys aren't ruining your Saturday?" "I'm in nursing school," I watched his eyes flicker with approval. 3rd year. I like helping people. That's noble. He paused. I did some helping in my day, too. Before the badge. Oh? Military? He nodded once. Did 2 tours overseas. Came home, thought I'd keep protecting on a smaller scale. The radio popped again. An airy, distant whistle. No call sign. Just a single word. Harlan. I stiffened. Did they say your name? Interference, he answered calmly, turning a dial. Signal's awful out here. My phone, dead from searching for service, suddenly buzzed to life. The screen lit white, then black. A single notification flashed before vanishing. No signal. Emergency calls only. Deputy Myers, I said slowly. How long have you been stationed in Pine Brook County? Long while. He chuckled. Feels longer on nights like this. His gaze drifted to the rearview mirror, then back to the road. The cruiser's headlights carved a tunnel through the pines, but beyond that beam, the night looked oddly pale, as though soaked in moonlight too bright for a new moon. I checked the sky. Clouds drifted over a starless firmament. Deputy, I said uneasy. Are you sure this is the main road? I don't recognize these turns. I know every inch of County 17. Trust me, we're making good time. He flicked on the cruiser's spotlight. The beam washed across a weather-beaten sign. Devil's Fork, bridge closed. The letters were bleached, the wood splintered. Bridge closed? I echoed. Then we should... Before I could finish, he cut the wheel down a narrow service lane, tires crunching leaves. My seatbelt locked across my chest. Deputy Myers, I don't think this is... Just a little detour, he said gently. Shortcut. I swallowed. Would you mind turning around? I'm really scared right now. He glanced at me, sympathy etched into his features. You've had a rough night. Let's calm those nerves with some conversation. Tell me more about Grant. I'd rather not. Silence fell. The woods thickened, branches scraping the roof like skeletal hands. My breathing fogged the passenger glass through the vents blew warm air. Then Myers spoke, voice softer. He put his hands on you, didn't he? Yes, I whispered, and you said no. Yes. He wouldn't take that answer. No? He nodded slowly, eyes forward. I understand. Something in his tone, a simmering anger, sent chills through me. A crooked farmhouse appeared ahead, shingles peeling like scabs. Myers coasted to a stop. Need to check something, he murmured, unbuckling. Stay put. As he stepped out, the dome light flashed, and I saw it. His uniform wasn't the charcoal and navy of our county deputies. It was a lighter blue, vintage cut, the kind displayed in old courthouse portraits. The badge on his chest looked tarnished, the number pitted with age, 237. He shut the door and crossed the beams of the headlights. For a split second the lights flickered, and Deputy Myers vanished mid-stride. No silhouette, no crunching footsteps. Gone. Panic surged. I grabbed the door handle, locked. Deputy? I called, heart hammering. The driver's seat door opened. Myers climbed back in, calm as ever. Everything all right? He asked, as though he hadn't disappeared. I thought... Never mind. My words tangled. He put the cruiser in gear. Soon we'll hit pavement, and you'll see the diner's neon. I nodded, but my chest tightened. My phone vibrated again. I glanced. One new voice message. The timestamp read October 31st, 1982. Deputy Myers, I ventured. What year did you join the force? 81. His lips twitched fondly. Halloween night, actually. My first patrol alone. I froze. That's 43 years ago? His eyes met mine, suddenly hollow. Seems like yesterday. The cruiser's radio burst with a female dispatcher's voice, clear amid the static. Unit 237, status check. We've lost your signal near Devil's Fork. Do you copy? Myers lifted the mic. 10-4, dispatch. Got a civilian. Bringing her in. The dispatcher hesitated. Unit 2-3-7, you're not on the roster tonight. Identify. Deputy Myers pressed the transmit button, but said nothing. Instead, he whispered to me, "We're almost there." A frigid draught swept the cabin. My breath plumed. The rear doors clattered, though no one sat back there. The interior mirror fogged over, letters forming in the condensation. Run. I yanked my seatbelt release. It refused to budge. I pulled again. Nothing. Something wrong, Claire? Myers asked, voice gentle, hand still on the wheel. Yet his eyes were twin voids reflecting no light. This isn't right, I choked. Let me out. He sighed, sorrowful. I can't. Why? Because I never could save her, he whispered. My throat clenched. Save who? He glanced at me. Sadness pooled like ink in water. My daughter, white dress like yours. A boy drove too fast. Hit a tree. Halloween, 82. My pulse thundered. Deputy, please. We're nearly there, he said, voice distant. I promised her I'd bring someone home safe. Headlights speared the darkness ahead. Another vehicle approaching. Myers accelerated. 40, 50. The speedometer needle quivered, then spun a full circle, ignoring physics. I pounded the window. Stop the car! Can't, he replied. Not this time. The approaching lights swerved, horn blaring. In that flash, I glimpsed Grant's Camaro, its driver staring wide-eyed. Grant? My scream ripped from my throat. The cruiser raced past. The trees opened onto a clearing, and, dead center, a massive oak loomed like a gallows. Brake! I shrieked. Deputy Myers removed his hands from the wheel. Sometimes, he murmured, we're all ghosts of our mistakes. I clawed at the door, locked. Seatbelt carved my ribs. The cruiser roared. Please! Tears blurred my vision. I don't want to die! He turned, features softening to compassion. I'm sorry, Claire. The oak filled the windshield. Bark and branches rushed forward like grasping arms. My last sound was a strangled scream. There was no impact. Instead, an icy hush, like the moment between lightning and thunder, enveloped me. I blinked. The cruiser stood still, engine silent, nose inches from the oak's trunk. Moonlight spilled over the hood. Deputy Myers was gone. Only his hat lay on the driver's seat, brim cracked, badge tarnished. I sobbed with relief, fumbling the seatbelt. This time it clicked free. I scrambled out into cool night air. The cruiser behind me looked wrong. No reflective decals, no modern light bar. Its paint was chipped, its tail fins curved like those of a 1970s Dodge Monaco. I staggered into the clearing. Tires hissed behind. Grant's Camaro idled a dozen yards away, driver's door open. Grant approached slowly, guilt etched across his face. Claire, I came back. His voice shook. I wanted to run to him, but something kept me rooted. The cruiser's headlights flickered one last time, then died. A wind sighed through the oak, scattering brittle leaves. Grant's gaze drifted past me. Whose squad car is that? I turned. The cruiser dissolved into mist, metal unraveling into sparks of pale light that danced like fireflies before winking out. I felt a hand brush my shoulder, weightless, chilled, paternal. A whisper, softer than wind. You're safe now. Go home. I spun, but no one stood there. Grant's trembling hand grasped mine. Let's get out of here. I nodded blankly, still staring at the empty space where Deputy Harlan Myers had sat. My pulse hammered, but a calm, strangely warm, settled over me. Months have passed, yet the memory lingers whenever I drive past Devil's Fork Road. I leave a white rose at the oak each Halloween, beneath a rust-scaled plaque I found half buried in the leaves. In memory of Deputy Harlan Myers. End of watch, October 31st, 1982. I sometimes imagine his cruiser still roaming lonely roads, searching for girls in white dresses, trying, eternally, to save the daughter he couldn't. And though the world will insist he is only a ghost story, I know the truth. Some spirits haunt not to harm, but to finish the kindness life denied them, even if their salvation feels like terror to the living. Whenever I think of that night, I hear his final whisper on the wind, reminding me to stay safe. I heed it. Because on nights when the roads are empty and the pines bend like mourners, an old radio still crackles with a call sign that hasn't been on the roster in 43 years. And somewhere, headlights cut through darkness, guided by a promise that refuses to die. So if you ever find yourself stranded on County 17 and a vintage cruiser pulls alongside, remember to listen to the voice inside you. Because not every uniform belongs to the living, and not every ghost means you harm. Sometimes a haunting is simply a sacrifice, and the longest patrol of all is love that will not rest. And if you hear a voice on the radio, soft and sorrowful, Unit 237, escorting her home, know that Deputy Myers is out there, still chasing redemption under a pale, unwavering moon.